Conclusions: creating a path to purpose, satisfaction, and joy.
A lot of times as a consultant, I'm sort of brought into a situation and walk in the door and sit down, and someone says, "Oh, well, our consultant is here. What's next for Hugh?" And I always kind of hit myself in the head. Well, I don't even know Hugh. How would I know what's next for him? But I think a lot of times that's the way people think. Like, well, there's a progression, and all of these students are on some sort of conveyor belt that's taking them in some specific direction, and all we need is for somebody to identify where that's headed. And so I think a lot of times you have to stop in and say, not everybody's going in the same direction. What we have to do is figure out a particular direction for a particular student.
We see 2 photographs of Sandy's son John engaged in some activities that he has demonstrated an interest in. The first photograph shows him pushing a wheelbarrow full of hay at a local farm where he works. The other shows John stocking and arranging products on shelves at a CVS store. Again, we hear from Sandy regarding her hopes for her son as he approaches transition.
What I really am looking for is an arrangement in which he can continue to grow and he can continue to show his strengths and contribute to society. That's setting the bar high. I think that's setting a different paradigm for a lot of these social service agencies. And I get these blank faces staring back at me when I talk about, they look at John, they look at his profile, and they say, "You want to do what?" and I say, yeah, he really can work, and he really can contribute. And yes, I'd like him to live in a group home with other kids.
We now see a photo of a split-level home on a shady lot. It is the group home to which John will be moving.
And yes, I expect him to iron because we do it at home. And yes, he can sew and buttons, and really he can. And I have very high expectations for him. And what I'd love is for the community that he's going to be able to match resources with the expectations I have.
Different organizations and different agencies and different support entities, be they formal ones like state agencies and nonprofit organizations, stuff like that, or informal ones like the community support that you get from your neighbors and friends and people over at the church and that kind of thing. All of those things play a part, I think, in helping push through to help the student or the individual as they grow up, and become an adult, have a life. And the terms I've been using lately that I like is purpose, satisfaction, and joy, which is what I think that a person, that's what everybody wants, is a life with that they find meaningful, with purpose, satisfaction, and joy in their life. And in order to help the student achieve that goal of having that kind of a life, I think they're going to have to get support from a variety of different places.
We now hear from Mary, whose son has been living independently with support for the last 3 years.
Be persistent. Understand that there are going to be those ups and downs, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Don't give up. Get your team, whether it's with your spouse and family or the professionals you're working with, but build that team and keep the communication going great with the team. A lot of positive accolades for everybody involved. Stay positive, and I think that's how it's helped us. We use a lot of humor for the downfalls. I could tell you a million stories on things that should have been catastrophes, but you just kind of laugh about it and go on and figure that's the way it is and move forward.
And I think if they just go to a place and say, "Can you help me get there?" I think you never do. But I think if you can describe what it is you're looking for and approach systems and say, "What piece can you play in this? How can you help me reach my goal?" And do that, across the board, you can put together a comprehensive network of support, which I think is what everybody needs. It's what I need.
Fade to black.